tag team like Kyrie and KD. Or the Lake Show with King James and AD. Wish I could match him up with the bad boys from the 80s. But no black and white, I need that in HD. HenDawgz.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Hen. We back to it. You know how we do it. For this video, we got the 5 most overrated players in NBA history. One of my loyal subscribers suggested this video to me, so it was only right. You know, I try to say that often. You know, if you got any videos that you would suggest for me to react to, please send them to me. Like, it's a lot of times where I'm like kind of running out of ideas. I don't really have I do the reaction to actual NBA games, but I like these timeless videos that we can watch 5-10 years from now. So if you got any more ideas like this, any videos that you think is pretty good, send them my way and I'm gonna try to react to them. So yeah, we got 5 most overrated players in NBA history. And I'm gonna try to give y'all my prediction. I have no idea who's gonna be in this video, but I'm gonna try to get my prediction a little bit. I know for one, if Kobe is in this video, I'm cutting it off. Like, I'm telling y'all that up front. Like, if he got Kobe in this video, it's going off, because this is that right there makes this video invalid. But yeah, I might want to say I might see Shaq in this video as being overrated, only because he was just very, very dominant, and I can see him being overrated in the sense of not having as much skill as people thought. But I mean, I don't think he's overrated. I'm just trying to give y'all, some my predictions. Who else? I don't even really know who could be overrated. Maybe LeBron might be here a little bit. Like, I don't know, man. I ain't gonna say Bron. I ain't gonna say Bron. I don't know. I ain't even about to give y'all no predictions, man. We about to just get into this video. I'm actually very, very curious who's gonna be in this video. So let's get into it, man. We got the 5 most overrated players in NBA history.
Nothing starts up a firestorm quicker in sports debates than the term overrated. To many sports fans, to be overrated is the same thing as being a horrible player, when it couldn't be farther from the truth.
That's not true.
Just because a player is overrated does not mean that they are necessarily a bad player, even when talking.
Right, and that's kind of why I said Shaq. I'm not saying that I think Shaq isn't, top 5 big of all time. That was my prediction on, is he really as good as people say he is? That's what I mean by that. I'm not saying Shaq not good.
The official definition of the word overrate, have a higher opinion of someone or something than is deserved, says nothing about being bad. Yet
Michael Jackson?
Does not
what Michael Jackson got to do with
being
this?
Offended and getting outraged. With that said, I am more than certain a large contingent of people will be pissed off at this list.
Hey,
to that I say,
Kobe better not be on here.
Covers the 5 most overrated players in NBA history. Starting off the list at number 5,
Tony Parker.
Good old Tony. Where do I begin?
Let's talk about it. Write in the comments right now how y'all feel about that. Tony Parker is the 5th most overrated player in NBA history. Why? Because he couldn't shoot. He definitely wasn't the greatest shooter. But I'm not saying Tony Parker is overrated, man. Let's see why you say that.
Entering the NBA as a 19-year-old out of France in 2002, Tony Parker spent most of his career protected by the San Antonio media. That is to say, nobody really gives a shit about him.
He did have Popovich and Tim Duncan.
The shady shit that Tony did goes unnoticed. Putting aside the fact that Tony Parker fucked the teammate's wife, Brent Berry, this list strictly cares about what a player did on the court relative to their reputation. Make no mistake about it, despite the fact that I believe Tony Parker is overrated for reasons I'll get into later, he still did have a hell of a career. A 4-time NBA champion, an NBA Finals MVP,
4 championships,
6-time NBA All-Star, and a 3-time All-NBA second-team selection. And a 3rd-team All-NBA selection in 2009 for good measure. So
he got 4 rings.
How is he overrated?
Right.
Of course, this is all just personal preference, but I always felt that Tony Parker was never a dominant point guard, or at least one that deserved all the recognition that he got from being on a consistent.
What y'all think, y'all?
And quite simply, Parker just didn't have elite production on a consistent basis. He never finished top 10 in points per game, and only twice was he ever top 10 in assists per game, never finishing in the top 5.
But I don't think nobody's out here saying that Tony Parker is the greatest point guard ever.
Because he happened to play on a team that prioritized sharing the ball.
San Antonio
While
Spurs.
this might be true to some extent, Parker didn't necessarily dominate the advanced stats category.
Yeah, nobody was saying that Tim Duncan was, that Tony Parker was one of his most dominant guards.
Finishing top 10 in win shares and only finishing top 10 in win shares per 48 minutes one time. And while Parker does have a Finals MVP on his resume, he wasn't necessarily a great postseason player either, finishing with a career postseason player efficiency rating of 16.8, which is good, but not superstar level. His career win shares per 48 minutes in the playoffs is a dreadful.
See, I hate when they start getting into they start picking at stats, the win shares per 48 minutes. Did y'all see the one stat they had a LeBron and the Lakers talking about the Lakers walk more than any other team in the NBA? Like, they be just picking at different stats, man. Like, shit is kind of crazy. And also another thing about LeBron, I forget what it was saying, but it was talking about how, like, if you add up Bron's missed shots and turnovers, he leads the NBA in most wasted possessions or something. Like, I'm like, y'all literally made that stat just for LeBron to look bad. Like, and this looked like one of them stats. They're trying to just make Tim Duncan. I mean, I can't call this dude Tim Duncan. Tony Parker look bad.
To some people, they are strictly a product of being at the right place at the right time, and not because Parker was super efficient.
So they said Tony Parker was at the right place, right time.
Parker appeared in his career. His numbers still don't jump out on the page, despite a Finals MVP, with career averages of 16.5 points and 4.5 assists per game.
That's solid though. 63% from the free throw.
One could easily mistake Tony Parker for
what's going on?
Kyle Lowry. There's
Come on, man.
no question that almost every NBA
Barry.
in history would take Tony Parker's career in a heartbeat.
Why are you trying to see Kyle Lowry in the blue shorts?
Coming in at number 4, it's Isiah Thomas.
Which Isaiah? Okay, I thought they were about to say the Pistons Isaiah. And that's tough because he just got to my boys.
Not that Isiah Thomas. The other Isiah Thomas. The one who used to play for the Pistons. The one who might
wait.
Sure didn't make the dream team in 1992. Gee, I wonder why Michael Jordan...
Hey, y'all. Old heads, let me know about this one. I think he's really tripping. No way is Isiah Thomas one of the most overrated players in NBA history, bro. Like, come on, man. Explain yourself, Barry.
Isiah Thomas so much. It couldn't be because Isiah Thomas is...
He getting buckets on Jordan. Come on now.
Michael Jordan's Bulls 3 straight years in the playoffs. No, I'm sure it wasn't that. Or the fact that on several different occasions, Isiah individually ate his lunch. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on a diatribe. After all, this is a video explaining why Isiah Thomas is overrated. So why am I showing clips of him?
Right. Let me know.
Against the
Let me know.
best basketball player of all time? Well, because I like to piss off Michael Jordan fans. It's funny. Anyway, let's get to the real reasons why Isiah Thomas is my 4th most overrated player in NBA history.
Y'all need to hear this.
Like every other player on this
list, a crazy
Isiah Thomas was not a bad player. I cannot stress this enough. He was, in fact, a great player.
We know that. We understand the overrated part, bro.
That's exactly why I believe him.
How is he overrated, though?
Many people have Isiah Thomas as a top 2 or 3 point guard of all time, and simply, he just wasn't that good. He had about 2 or 3 truly elite seasons.
I got him right behind Steph.
Player by the time he turned 29 years old. And
give me Magic, Steph, Isiah.
Per game averages than number 5 on this list, Tony Parker had in his career. His advanced stats were not that great. At least
through the
not
turnover.
as great as you would expect for a guy who was consistently considered one of the 2 or 3 best players at his position ever. Only 2 times in his career.
Cheek kisses in the middle of the game? Yeah, he might be a little overrated doing that.
Was he even
top Magic on?
When it comes to other advanced stats categories like win shares, he only finished top 10 one time and never finished.
He got like 3 rings though, 2 rings. Like, that win share shit is overrated. Some of these stats are overrated.
3 times finishing in the top.
Value over replacement player? Come on,
although Isiah Thomas did get better in the postseason, winning 2 rings and a Finals MVP, goddamn, Steph Curry must feel like shit. His postseason numbers still weren't anything that would make you think this guy was one of the 2 or 3 best players ever at his position. He ranks 52nd all-time in postseason player efficiency rating.
Postseason player efficiency.
All-time in postseason win shares. Again, these are good numbers. Very good numbers even. but they're not those of a guy.
So basically, he's saying he didn't win as much as people acting like he was winning.
Ever. I believe Isiah Thomas is a top 10 point guard of all time, and even might be a top 5 point guard of all time.
He for sure top 5 point guard.
Steph Curry? No.
Let me know in the comments right now, where does Isiah Thomas rank in the top 5 point guards? He's definitely not better than Steph, though.
You have Steph Curry's peak years, or the ability to warp the dimensions of the court like Steph does. Do I think he's better than Chris Paul?
Did you see a couple Stephs out there?
I think Chris Paul is better defender, and he has way better...
Right in the comments right now. Right now, Chris Paul or Isiah Thomas?
Way more longevity on his side.
I might have to go Chris Paul, man. That's tough. We'll put that in the community channel. I'm about to write that in there right now.
To be ahead of Isiah as well. But not only his volume and his per game...
Go vote.
His efficiency was amazing for his era. Assuming everybody has Magic Johnson as the greatest point guard of all time, you could make an argument still that Isiah is top 5. But I would put Isiah more in that next tier of guys like Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, and Gary Payton. And if you disagree with me, well,
he better than Gary Payton.
Coming in at number 3, it's Carmelo Anthony.
Melo?
I've been puzzled by Carmelo Anthony.
Melo is the 3rd most overrated player of all time. Come on, man.
And he played for the Knicks for 6.5 years, but still, I've never quite understood why he seems to have such a dedicated, rabid fan base. One that
because he's one of the greatest scorers of all time. You can't be one of the greatest scorers of all time.
Kobe are...
Shut up, Barry. You cannot be one of the greatest scorers of all time and be one of the most overrated players of all time. That don't add up to me. The point of the game is to score. I might agree that he may not be the greatest ball handler or greatest passer, but he's one of the greatest scorers of all time, man. Like, I'm not trying to hear him being overrated because he wasn't super good at doing everything on the court. Like, come on, man. Explain yourself, Barry.
Of the greatest players of all time, while Carmelo is not. I've always had a theory that Carmelo Anthony's dedicated following is due to, in large part, because of his really awesome name. Carmelo Anthony. It's the type of name that just rolls off the tongue and it sticks out in a crowd. If Carmelo's name was something like Jeff Smith, would anybody really give a shit about the way his career...
So he's only good because of his name now?
He's so adamant that he deserves a second and third chance in the league when it's obvious that he sucks? I don't think so. I also think Carmelo has remained relevant through all these years because he's friends with LeBron James, and
that's not true.
Part of that fabled top 5.
He just had like 6 threes in our last game.
Draft, along with LeBron, D. Wade, Chris Bosh, and also 2004 NBA champion Darko Milicic. But let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's actually look.
How is he overrated? Yeah, talk to me, Barry.
On the court during his career, it's undeniable that Carmelo Anthony has scored a lot of points, 26,314 to be specific. Good enough.
But he overrated
on the all-time scoring list. There's no question that Carmelo Anthony is going to be a Hall of Famer once he retires, but really that's not saying much anymore. He does have a scoring title on his resume in 2013.
This dude is a heavy critic. I like it though. I like it.
Game 9 times and top 5 in points per game 6.
You don't hear this every day, so I like it.
Until you start to look a little bit deeper into the numbers. Carmelo Anthony has been known as an elite scorer, even though he's never really been an efficient scorer. In 13 of his 17 NBA seasons,
he talking about this non-efficient scoring. I swear, if Kobe is on this list,
again, scoring
I'm gonna throw a fit, man.
He was known for, and if you can't even efficiently do what you're most known for, how can you be considered a great player? And not even just talking about the individual stuff, but in terms of team-wise, Carmelo Anthony's never won shit.
Yeah,
he's never come close to anything in the NBA.
What was he really winning? I kind of see it. I see it a little bit.
When they made the conference finals.
Just getting a whole bunch of points, no wins.
Run in 17 seasons. And it's not like Carmelo was lighting the world on fire in the playoffs either. His efficiency gets even worse, both in terms of regular and advanced.
Yeah, Iverson, but he ran into Kobe.
So sum it up a little bit.
Was that 09?
Scored a lot of points,
Denver?
although not on very good efficiency. He's nothing special as a rebounder. He's certainly nothing special as a passer or a defender.
I would say he's a really good
and his playoff stats get worse.
Rebounder.
What exactly?
I got that shit. Get the fuck out of here.
Was it that
I know y'all heard that.
Justified by his style?
I know y'all didn't heard that.
I highly doubt that. Even at his athletic peak, Carmelo was never a high-flying athletic freak like that of a Dominique Wilkins or a Vince Carter. Unless you like watching jab steps and mid-range.
And I love watching that.
I don't understand why you'd enjoy watching Carmelo Anthony. But hey,
I like watching that.
He's super rich, has a hot wife, and I don't. So I'm pretty sure he doesn't give a shit about my opinion. Number 2, Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, okay. Okay, now you talking.
5-time MVP.
Now you're talking. Let me know what y'all think about Bill Russell, man. I know he has 77 rings, but I heard he was playing against construction workers and was playing against accountants. Like he was. I heard he was like 7 foot 6'11". There was nobody else out there over 6'5". I heard that was the same thing with Wilt too, but that's for a whole nother story. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna react to a Wilt Chamberlain highlight tape because I got some stuff to talk about with Wilt. But yeah, I think Bill Russell, they said, averaged like 12, 13 points. Like, he didn't really average too many points. He was just the biggest dude out there. He was a leader for his team, and they was winning. They was winning. Like I said, he got 77 rings. Like, I can see why people say he's so good. But wait, that ain't no damn Bill Russell.
Overrated.
That's Morgan Freeman.
A pretty outlandish statement. Until you start to dig deeper into the numbers and look at what Russell actually did on the court. Russell is a consensus top 10 player of all time, and a lot of people even have him top 5, usually off the basis that he has 11 rings. And there's absolutely nothing more that grinds my gears as a sports fan than when people overrate players because of their ring count. But it's not
that's what you play for, man.
Make him overrated. As I alluded to earlier, his actual production isn't that of a top 10 player ever. I would argue it's not even top 20 or top 30. Bill Russell's calling card was defense, and the numbers seem to back it up. He led the league in defensive win shares.
That's okay. He was a defender.
Times in 13 seasons. And for a big man, he also wasn't a horrible passer, averaging 4.3 assists per game for his career. Russell was also
this nigga is grinding.
A career 22.5 rebounds
that look fake.
And although
Get back to
the
him.
number is inflated by the era that Russell played in, it's still impressive. My biggest gripe with Russell comes as a scorer. He just wasn't that good. Despite the fact that Russell played in an era with a ton of possessions and the fact that he had a major athletic advantage over all of his opponents,
that's what I heard.
Wilt Chamberlain, the fact that he averaged only 15 points per game for his career on 44% shooting.
Yeah, Bill Russell overrated, man.
Not only did he never come close to leading the league in scoring, he
so this is number 2.
His own team in scoring.
Okay,
yes,
so who is number 1?
Considered top 5 or 10 ever, never led his own team in scoring at any point in his career. To me, that's just too much to overlook. Scoring the ball is...
Alright, so we got down to number 1. Number 1 is coming. I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about Bill Russell for probably a couple more minutes, or I don't know for how long, but I just know number 1 is coming up. And I swear to y'all, if it's Kobe Bryant, man, I'm going to go find Barry. And that's not a threat. It's a promise.
And always will be the most important part of basketball. You can be a great rebounder.
He might be trying to do that just for shot value.
You still have to put the ball through the hoop. And simply put,
but I don't know who else they're going to put.
Before I go into detail explaining why his 11 rings are overrated, I should talk about his 5 MVPs first.
He said his 11 rings is overrated.
Seasons, Russell averaged 16.7 points per game on 44% shooting, with a player efficiency rating of 19.4. He has 5 of the 10 worst NBA MVP seasons in history in terms of player efficiency rating.
He has the worst MVP seasons.
Back when Russell played, the MVP was voted on by the players, and they probably gave Russell a few extra MVPs because they thought Wilt Chamberlain was just a stat-padding douche. Statistically, there's a pretty good argument that Russell didn't deserve any of the MVPs that he won. And this gets into the next segment of my argument for why Russell's overrated.
Why is that, bro?
He's cited as having elite tangibles, which is the reason for his teams being so successful. And it just doesn't sit well with me. This isn't fucking Remember the Titans. This is not
Remember the Tits?
These professional
this dude is funny.
players. These are professional.
Shout out to Barry for this
video,
man.
At the end of the day, the team with the best talent usually wins. And in Bill Russell's era, he had the best teams in terms of talent. That's not to say that Russell didn't contribute at all to his team's winning.
He contributed 15 points. He contributed more rebounds than points.
It's just fucking ridiculous. Being in a better situation does not make you a better player, and a lot of people fail to grasp that. And besides, in a large majority of Russell's finals wins, he really didn't do anything.
He averaged 9 points on 40% shooting.
Finals either. Russell's career postseason player efficiency rating
Damn, ref.
19.4, which is good
enough. He need to go home.
60th all time.
Oh.
He averaged 16.2 points per game on 43%.
Go sit down, ref.
Yuck. I've always been of the belief that in every sport, the best players from any era would do well in any era. But Russell is an exception for me. If he struggled to score efficiently in a much faster-paced era against
he would really struggle now, huh?
Today, What would he be if he played in today's NBA?
Hey, that's true.
He would make the NBA. He would be a good enough athlete
That's true.
in the NBA today for sure, but there's plenty of great athletes who aren't good NBA players.
I don't know who that
Even
was.
with all the modern advancement and training and all of that.
Who was that
stuff
player right there for the
Russell
Bucks?
defenders like to talk about. That doesn't mean he'd suddenly learn how to
Anthony
become a
Bennett.
good offensive player. I think the best case scenario for Russell if he played in today's era would be as a Ben
He
Wallace.
way
type.
bigger than Ben Wallace,
And the
though.
similarities are there. Both were considered the best
Ben Wallace
defenders
is like
of their
6'8",
era. Both
6'7".
were horrible offensive players and free throw shooters, and both won championships. The only difference is nobody's pounding the table for Ben Wallace as a top 10 player of all time the way they do with Russell. And if you
That's
think an
crazy
idiot
to
for
say.
having Bill Russell as the second.
That's so crazy to say that Bill Russell in today's game would be Ben Wallace, bro. The way people talk about Bill Russell in today's world as the best player of all time, and this dude, my dude Barry, is saying, hey, if he was playing right now, he'd be Ben Wallace, bro. Like that's hilarious to me.
Most overrated player in NBA.
But who was number one,
I
man?
advise you look at this photo of Bill Russell. Couldn't have summed it up any better myself, Bill. And
Click
coming
on
in at number one.
I'm done.
Kobe Bryant.
I'm done.
I already
I'm done. I'm done.